Imagine yourself transported back through the mists of time, standing on the banks of the mighty Nile River, where the sun rises golden over the pyramids and the air hums with the echoes of ancient chants. You're holding a fragile papyrus scroll in your hands, its surface etched with hieroglyphs that seem to pulse with life, whispering secrets of what is yet to come. This, my friend, is the essence of our journey today, decoding Africa's prophetic scrolls. Those enigmatic texts that dared to pierce the veil of the future. These aren't mere artifacts gathering dust in museums. They're living testaments to humanity's eternal quest to understand destiny, to bend the arc of fate, or at least to glimpse its path. From the pharaohs of Egypt to the visionaries of modern Africa, these scrolls have shaped empires, ignited revolutions, and offered solace in times of despair. As we embark on this epic tale together, I'll guide you through the sands of history, revealing how these prophecies intertwined with culture, politics, economy, and technology, leaving an indelible mark on the world. We'll explore not just the facts, but the emotions, the controversies, and the profound lessons they hold for us today. So, settle in, let your imagination soar, and let's begin where it all started. In the cradle of civilization, ancient Egypt. Picture the scene. It's around 2000 BCE, during the turbulent era known as the Middle Kingdom of Egypt. The Old Kingdom had crumbled under the weight of internal strife, famines, and invasions, leaving the land in chaos. Pharaohs, once seen as infallible gods, now struggled to maintain order. Into this void stepped the prophecy of Neferti, one of the earliest known prophetic texts in human history. Neferti, a revered lector priest, think of him as a scholar priest who recited sacred spells, was summoned before Pharaoh Sneferu, the founder of the Fourth Dynasty, though scholars debate the exact timeline, suggesting it might have been retroactively attributed to legitimize later rulers. In a voice trembling with divine inspiration, Neferti unfolds a vision of apocalypse. The land is in turmoil, the weak seize the strong, the river runs dry, and crocodiles bask on the banks where once fields flourished. He describes a society turned upside down, nobles begging in the streets, foreigners overrunning the borders, and the sacred Nile turning to blood, evoking images that would later resonate in biblical plagues. But Neferti doesn't stop at despair. He prophesies a redeemer, a king from the south named Amenemhat-Shir, who will restore Ma'at, the eternal balance of justice and harmony. He will build walls against the Asiatics, pacify the Delta, and make the two lands bow before him, Neferti declares. This scroll, preserved on papyrus fragments now housed in places like the State Hermitage Museum in St. Petersburg, Russia, wasn't just a prediction, it was a masterful piece of political propaganda. You see, my friend, in ancient Egypt, where religion and state were inseparable, such prophecies served to justify the ascension of new dynasties. Historians like Egyptologist Geraldine Pinch argue that texts like this were composed after the events they predicted, a common practice to lend divine approval to earthly power shifts. Let's dive deeper into the cultural context. Egyptian society revolved around the cycles of the Nile's floods, which symbolized renewal. Prophecies often mirrored these natural rhythms, foretelling destruction followed by rebirth, much like the god Osiris's resurrection. Economically, during this period, the prophecy addressed real issues: famine caused by low Nile floods, which devastated agriculture and led to widespread starvation. Politically, it bolstered central authority, encouraging loyalty to the pharaoh as the prophesied savior. Technologically, the use of papyrus as a writing medium allowed these scrolls to be disseminated widely, from temples in Thebes to administrative centers in Memphis, and globally, This text influenced later Mesopotamian and Hebrew prophetic traditions, with echoes in the book of Isaiah, where similar themes of downfall and redemption appear. But controversies abound. Was Neferti a real historical figure, or a fictional construct? Some Egyptologists, like James Allen from Brown University, suggest the text draws from older wisdom literature, blending fact with myth to create a compelling narrative. Imagine the scribes laboring in dimly lit rooms, dipping reed pens into ink made from soot and gum, carefully inscribing these words that would echo through millennia. As the centuries rolled on, Egypt entered the late period, marked by foreign dominations, first the Persians, then the Greeks under Alexander the Great in 332 BCE, leading to the Ptolemaic dynasty. It was in this Hellenistic era, from about 300 BCE to 30 BCE, that demotic prophetic texts flourished, written in the everyday script of the people rather than elite hieroglyphs. One standout is the Oracle of the Potter, discovered on ostraca, pottery shards, in the Fayum region. In this tale, a humble potter approaches the pharaoh, perhaps a stand-in for Ptolemy, and shatters his vessels as a metaphor for impending doom. The city of foreigners, Alexandria, will be deserted like my kiln, he prophesies, envisioning Greek rulers cast down and native Egyptians rising up. The text vividly describes chaos, temples desecrated, taxes crushing the poor, and the Nile's bounty withheld by the gods. This was no idle fantasy. It captured the seething resentment against Ptolemaic rule, which imposed heavy taxes to fund lavish projects like the Lighthouse of Alexandria. Culturally, it blended Egyptian mythology with Greek influences, invoking gods like Thoth and Hermes. Politically, such prophecies fueled underground resistance, inspiring plots against the throne. Economically, they highlighted disparities. The Greeks controlled lucrative trade in grain and papyrus, while Egyptians toiled in fields. Technologically, the shift to demotic script democratized knowledge, allowing prophecies to spread among the masses via cheap ostraca. Regionally, this text influenced Judean apocalyptic literature during the Maccabean Revolt, as Jews in Egypt adapted similar themes against Seleucid oppressors. Now, let's explore a related scroll, the Prophecy of the Lamb of Bokhoris, from the 8th century BCE, during the 24th dynasty. A sacred lamb, symbolizing the god Amun, speaks to Pharaoh Bokhoris, foretelling 900 years of calamity, Assyrian invasions, Persian conquests, and internal decay. Egypt will be given over to strangers, its kings will be slaves, the lamb bleats. Discovered in fragments at Saqqara, this text reflects the era's instability, with Nubian kings like Piye invading from the south in 728 BCE. Historians debate its authenticity. Some, like Kim Ryholt from the University of Copenhagen, see it as a post-event composition to explain historical traumas. A side tangent here. Consider the role of animal oracles in Egyptian culture. Temples housed sacred beasts like the Apis bull, whose behaviors were interpreted as prophecies. This practice extended to economics, where oracles guided trade decisions such as when to ship grain during uncertain monsoons. Controversies include modern interpretations. New Age thinkers claim these texts encode astronomical predictions like solar eclipses, but scholars dismiss this as pseudoscience. Emotionally, these scrolls evoked fear and hope, pacing the narrative from despair to triumph, much like a dramatic play. Venturing southward now, to the rugged highlands of Ethiopia, where the ancient kingdom of Aksum rose around the 1st century CE, blending African traditions with influences from Arabia and the Mediterranean. By the 4th century, under King Ezana, who converted to Christianity in 328 CE after encounters with missionaries, prophetic scrolls took on a biblical flavor. The pinnacle is the Kebra Nagast, the glory of kings, compiled in the 14th century by Neburad Yeshak of Aksum, but rooted in far older Ge'ez manuscripts and oral law. This epic scroll prophesies the divine lineage of Ethiopian emperors, tracing back to the union of King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba around 950 BCE. "From Zion shall come forth the law, and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem," it quotes, adapting Isaiah to claim Ethiopia as the new Zion. Vividly, it describes how their son, Menelik the Fair, spirited the Ark of the Covenant from Jerusalem to Aksum, fulfilling a prophecy of eternal protection. Imagine the scene. Menelik, disguised, loads the Ark onto camels under cover of night, angels guarding his path across deserts and seas. Preserved in monasteries like those on Lake Tana, these parchment scrolls, bound in leather and illuminated with vibrant inks, were recited during coronations, instilling awe. Culturally, they fused Judaic, Christian and indigenous beliefs, with Sheba representing African wisdom. Politically, they legitimized the Solomonic dynasty, which ruled until Haile Selassie's deposition in 1974. Economically, the prophecy tied to Aksum's gold and ivory trade, foretelling prosperity under righteous kings. Technologically, Ge'ez script, derived from South Arabian, allowed complex theological debates. Globally, the Kebra Nagast inspired Rastafarianism in Jamaica, where Selassie was seen as the prophesied Lion of Judah, influencing music like Bob Marley's lyrics. But let's delve into a biography. Frumentius, the Syrian youth shipwrecked in Aksum around 310 CE, became tutor to Princess Zana, ordained bishop by Athanasius of Alexandria in 328. He translated scriptures, infusing them with prophetic interpretations. His letters, fragmentary scrolls, applied Daniel's visions to local events like droughts in 340 CE, predicting divine intervention through Christian rites. This syncretism sparked controversies. Orthodox versus Monophysite debates in the 5th century Council of Chalcedon echoed in Ethiopian texts. A lesser-known fact, during the 6th century Persian invasions, prophecies in the Apocalypse of Pseudo-Methodius, adapted into Ge'ez, foretold Muslim expansions, influencing Aksum's alliances with Byzantium. Emotionally, these scrolls paced from epic grandeur to somber warnings, evoking pride in African heritage. Shifting our gaze westward, to the vast Sahel, where Islam took root in the 8th century, transforming empires like Ghana, Mali and Songhai. By the 13th century, under Mansa Musa of Mali, whose 1324 pilgrimage to Mecca is legendary, Timbuktu became a hub of scholarship. Its libraries brimming with over 700,000 manuscripts, many prophetic. The Tarikh al-Sudan, penned by Abd al-Rahman al-Sadi in 1655, weaves prophecies into history. A reformer from the East will come, purifying the faith and uniting the people, foretelling Askia Muhammad's rise in 1493, who expanded Songhai to its zenith. These vellum scrolls, inscribed in Arabic with gold-flecked ink, addressed cultural shifts, blending Sufi mysticism with Mandinka traditions. Politically, they justified jihads against non-believers, like Askia's campaigns in 1498. Economically, prophecies guided trans-Saharan trade. One scroll predicted gold mine discoveries, boosting Mali's wealth, which Musa displayed by distributing arms in Cairo, devaluing gold temporarily. Technologically, the introduction of paper from China via Arabs revolutionized scroll production. Regionally, these texts influenced Xhosa city-states, inspiring Fulani jihads in the 19th century. Now, a sub-story on Ahmad Baba al-Timbuktu, born in 1556, a scholar exiled to Morocco in 1593 after Songhai's fall. His 40-plus works include prophetic commentaries on dreams, debating if visions could forecast market crashes, like salt shortages. Quotes, "The stars align for the just trader, but woe to the oppressor." Controversies. During the 2012 jihadist occupation of Timbuktu, manuscripts were smuggled out, preserving prophecies that modern experts like Shamil Jepi analyze for climate insights, astrological notes hinting at Sahara desertification. Emotionally, the narrative builds tension with tales of divine retribution, then resolves in triumph. In Central Africa, the Kingdom of Kongo, established around 1390, encountered Portuguese explorers in 1483, leading to Christian conversion under King Nzinga Nkuvu in 1491. Prophetic scrolls here were often bark cloth manuscripts or oral traditions transcribed later. Enter Dona Beatriz Kimpa-Vita, born around 1684, and Nganga Marinda, prophetess, who in 1704 claimed visions from Saint Anthony, foretelling Congo's unification against Portuguese divide and rule tactics. The Black Christ was born in São Salvador, not Bethlehem, she proclaimed, challenging colonial theology. Her Antonian movement produced prophetic hymns and letters, predicting the end of slave trade wars that ravaged the region from 1665 onward. Burned at the stake in 1706 on charges of heresy, her legacy endured in oral scrolls collected by missionaries. Culturally, she blended Kikongo cosmology with Catholicism, creating hybrid rituals. Politically, her prophecies inspired uprisings like the 1704-1709 Civil War. Economically, they critiqued the Atlantic slave trade, which exported millions, disrupting agriculture. Technologically, Portuguese printing presses in Luanda reproduced counter-prophecies, escalating the conflict. Globally, her ideas influenced Haitian Vodou, where African prophets like Macandal in 1757 echoed her calls for freedom. A tangent. Simon Kimbangu, born in 1887 in Belgian Congo, founded Kimbanguism in 1921 after visions. His pamphlets, Modern Scrolls, prophesied independence. The white man's rule will crumble like clay. Imprisoned until 1951, his church grew to millions, interpreting technology like radios as prophetic tools. Controversies. Colonial historians labeled him a charlatan, but African scholars like Wyatt McGaffey see him as a resistance icon. Detailed analysis. Causes included economic exploitation, rubber quotas killing thousands. Effects led to 1960 independence. Southern Africa's prophetic tapestry shines with the Xhosa cattle killing of 1856-1857 amid British colonization since 1795. Teenager Nonkawus, in April 1856, visioned ancestors promising paradise if all cattle were slain and crops burned. Over 400,000 animals perished, famine claiming 40,000 lives, reducing Xhosa population by half. Recorded in missionary scrolls and oral epics, this millenarian prophecy stemmed from lung sickness episodics since 1855 and land losses after wars like the 1850-1853 Frontier War. Her uncle Mlakaza, a diviner, amplified the message, "New cattle will rise from the earth, fat and healthy." Culturally, it drew from Xhosa ancestor worship, blended with Christian apocalypticism from missions. Politically, it weakened Xhosa resistance, allowing British annexation. Economically, it devastated herds central to wealth. Technologically, rifles from traders exacerbated conflicts. Comparisons, akin to the 1890 ghost dance among Lakota, both desperate bids against imperialism. Lesser-known survivor testimonies, collected by historian Jeff Peiris, reveal internal debates. Chiefs like Sarhili hesitated but complied. Modern interpretations, some see it as psychological warfare, perhaps British-instigated rumours, though evidence is thin. Emotional pacing, builds hope, crashes into tragedy. In Zimbabwe, Shona spirit mediums like Mbuya Nehanda in the 1896 Chimurenga prophesied, My bones will rise again, executed in 1898, her words fueling the 1966 to 1979 Liberation War under ZANU. Cave inscriptions and later scrolls blended animism with nationalism. Economically, Prophecies targeted Rhodesian mines, disrupting gold output. Globally, inspired Mandela's ANC. A biography, Isaiah Shembe, Zulu prophet founding Nazareth Baptist Church in 1910. His hymns prophesied apartheid's fall, North Africa's Berber prophecies, Queen Kahina in 695 CE foretold Arab defeat, but fought valiantly. Almohad ibn Tumat in 1121 claimed Mahdi, his scrolls reforming society. Averroes' 1198 commentaries debated prophecy rationally. Modern era. Nkrumah's 1963 Pan-African visions, Ifa oracles predicting Nigerian oil, Dogon's star knowledge debates, Muraid economic prophecies, digital decodings for climate. In conclusion, these scrolls teach resilience, urging us to shape our future wisely. Thank you for this journey. May it spark your own prophecies.